Hey, what's up guys? I'm in the middle of my workout right now. I just wanted to shoot this quick video. It's kind of a little bit of a follow-up to my last video about steroids. It begged the question, man, you know, we're not gonna take steroids, but how do we naturally enhance our body's ability to produce testosterone and human growth hormone and all those anabolic hormones within the body? This video, I'm gonna give you my top tips to naturally increasing your testosterone, HGH, and all those anabolic hormones that are gonna give us the most bang for our buck when it comes to taking advantage of all the gains we can get naturally in our workouts and all of our training. Tip number one, exactly what I'm doing, man. Lifting. More specifically, you're gonna see the most increase in these things when you stick to more heavy compound movements, man. You know, big full body movements that are using multiple joints of the body, you know. So what does that mean? That means, you know, I'm gonna get much more of a testosterone and growth hormone release from doing heavy sets of deadlifts as opposed to doing high rep bicep curls, right? You know, bicep curls are working a very small part of the body. If I'm lifting a heavy weight from the floor, man, my legs, my back, everything is working. And that systemic stress is gonna be much more advantageous to releasing that global release of testosterone, HGH throughout the entire body. Number two, and this could arguably be number one, that's sleep, man. There is no substitute for good quality sleep. Minimum 8 hours, right? If we're trying to optimize our testosterone, our HGH, and these things that are released, more specifically than just the duration, is the timing of our sleep. Your biggest release of testosterone, HGH, and all that stuff takes place in the first few hours of when you go to bed. You know, people say, oh yeah, I get 8 hours. I go to bed at 3 a.m. and I wake up at 11 a.m. Yeah, okay, getting that 8 hours is better than only getting 4. But it's been shown, man, studies show this stuff is clear, that getting to bed earlier is much more optimal for the release of these hormones than, you know, staying up super late and sleeping in super late. When we go to bed earlier, our body is more primed to start to do these things, right? It's getting these systems online to get ready to do these things, so that way all those materials are there throughout the night while we sleep to repair and build the body back up. The metaphor I use is, you know, imagine you're getting ready for a heavy squat workout, right? And you spend 30 minutes warming up, getting ready for the squat workout. Well, at the end of that warm up, you're ready. You know, you're ready to squat some heavy weight. But what if I told you to hold off? What if I made you wait and just sit around for 4 or 5 hours and then try to get under that heavy squat? Probably not gonna turn out too well, right? It's not gonna look so great. Same thing with our body, man. Our bodies, like I said, when the sun goes down, these processes naturally start to occur, man, because it's our circadian rhythms. It's the way that we evolved as humans, right? So when these things start to warm up and get ready, and it's ready for you to go to sleep, but then you stay up another 4 or 5 hours staring at your phone, staring at the TV, whatever it is, and then go to sleep, it's not gonna turn out as well, right? It's not gonna be as optimal as it could be. Tip number three, and we're gonna move over now to a little bit more the nutrition side. So yes, we all know protein, we all know, you know, we need to get our protein, that helps build things up, right? But when it comes to talking about hormones, we don't wanna demonize fat, man, more specifically saturated fat. Saturated fat gets a very bad rap. And yes, anything in abundance or over consuming anything can be a bad thing. But saturated fats can be very important and beneficial for the production of these anabolic hormones that our body can naturally produce. Saturated fats, what are those? Those are our fats that come from animal sources, right? You know, red meat, eggs, and dairy products, things like that. A good rule of thumb I tell people is you can have anywhere from like 20 to 25% of your total fat intake, not calories, your total fat, to come from saturated fat. So if I'm taking in 80 grams of fat a day, I'm looking at, you know, around 20 grams of that coming from saturated sources. And good quality saturated sources, right? Get a grass-fed beef, get, you know, free-range eggs, things like that, and you're much more likely to get higher quality of that and have less adverse health effects. Tip number four, man, now we're gonna start to get maybe a little less common tips. First one being being aerobically fit, right? Building a nice solid aerobic base, more specifically doing so through walking, getting outside, getting the sun on your skin. Sun, vitamin D is huge for optimal hormone profile, right? But more so, being aerobically fit, man, why is that? Makes our body much more efficient overall, much more healthy, much more vibrant. Living a vital life is a direct correlation that can directly increase your testosterone, right? So getting out, getting outside, interacting with your environment, right? Being a contributor to society, being active, moving. Just like, you know, we think about, you know, a metaphor I like to use for this is like water, right? What happens to stagnant water, right? You see swamps and ponds, right? They're nasty, they stink, they got shit growing in them all the time. But what happens when water's running? Like a river or a creek or, you know, rapids, you know, the water's flowing, it's clear, it's drinkable, it's clean, right? Same thing with your body. If you're sitting around all day in front of a screen, not moving, you know, our body's gonna start to kind of take on properties of that sort of lifestyle, right? It's gonna start, you know, adapting to that and basically kind of lulling itself to sleep. You know, it's no wonder you're always tired, no wonder you're always sluggish. You know, you're not doing anything. But if we're up, we're around, you know, we're moving around, we're interacting with our environment, we're living a vital life, then it's gonna be more apt to start to do this, man. So getting aerobically fit, going outside, walking is super underrated, man. And studies have actually shown now that walking has actually been shown to have a direct correlation to increases in testosterone, right? People who walk a minimum of 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day have higher testosterone than people who don't. So walking, being aerobically fit, you cannot walk too much, man. Get outside and walk whenever you can. It'll be huge for it. All right, my last tip, number 5, and these two, they're almost kind of 2 tips in one, but they kind of play off each other a little bit. So, and it's this idea of plastics, right? Avoiding plastics as much as we possibly can. We can't completely stay away from them, but we can try to stay away from them and eliminate them from our lives as much as possible, right? So what do I mean when I say plastics, man? Water bottles, Tupperwares, you know, heating up your food, especially in like Tupperware plastic containers, or consuming foods that come in plastic containers, things like this. You know, you're gonna get them, you know, all our body washes and all this stuff is packaged in these plastic bottles. You're not gonna completely stay away from all of them, right? But doing what you can to eliminate the ones that you're able to can make a huge difference, man. This is one that I saw personally with myself. Over a 2-year span, I increased my testosterone over 200 points. And this was the biggest thing that I did, man. I got rid of plastic water bottles, started drinking, you know, filtered water. I got a reverse osmosis system put in my house. You know, yes, it's expensive, but it's a one-time payment. You get it for life, you know, and you think about all the water bottles you're gonna drink over the course of your life, you're actually probably coming out ahead, but it is a big upfront cost. But eliminating all those plastic water bottles, switching all my Tupperwares to glass, things like this, eliminating those environmental plastics was huge. You know, why is that? These plastics, they're environmental estrogens, right? And when you take in these estrogens, they bind to your hormone receptor sites, right? So every receptor site that gets clogged up by these environmental estrogens that I'm putting into my body is less receptor sites that my testosterone can utilize, and essentially makes that testosterone almost kind of useless in a way. So getting rid of those plastics as much as possible can make a huge difference. Like I said, you can't completely stay away from all of them, right? So what do we do about the ones that we take on? And this is why this is kind of like a 2-part tip. And that's a sauna, man. Saunas and sweating, man. Sweating profusely like that has been shown. That's one of the most efficient ways to get rid of these plastics that can build up in your body. So hitting a sauna 2 to 3 times a week for 20 to 30 minutes, you know, you gotta get up there. 180, 190 degree sauna where you're sweating profusely is a really good way to rid your body of those plastics and get them out of your system. Not to mention, there's also a lot of studies that show the sauna in of itself, helps increase your aerobic capacity, which was an earlier tip, but also those heat shock proteins that your body produces when it's exposed to extreme temperature like that has been shown to be great for increasing your growth hormone and things of that nature. So you're almost killing two birds with one stone with that sauna. So the sauna is huge, man. So trying to hit that 2 to 3 times a week. A lot of gyms these days have saunas in them. So if you're hitting it after your workouts a couple of times a week, it can make a huge difference, along with staying away from those plastics as much as you can. So that's it, guys, man. Those are my 5 tips to help you naturally increase your testosterone, your growth hormone, and all those anabolic hormones that our body naturally produces, man. The body is an amazing machine. It can do everything you need it to do. You just have to give it the opportunity, man. So hopefully this video helped. You know, it gave you some knowledge. So now you can go and apply these things, and you don't need that trash, man. You're never tempted to take steroids or any kind of PED, because you know inside the body has everything that you need to be able to fulfill your potential naturally, man. Putting in the work, doing what's necessary, you know, not taking the shortcuts. So I hope that helps, guys. If you found this helpful, like the video, share the video, but most of all, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.